Hello, welcome to Let's Talk with me, your host Irene Solo. Today is Thursday, and we are having a special guest. I'm sure you've seen the pictures, the flyers all around, and I hope you are expectant because the person we are having today is going to actually blow our minds. His ideas, his ideologies, and trust me, you're gonna enjoy that. So I hope you're ready. Brace yourself as we welcome our one and only guest, the political analyst, Mr. Joshua Africa Mokandila. Please just be expectant, invite as we welcome Mr. Joshua Mokandila Africa. I like the name, the fact that he even has Africa. We'll talk more about that. You're welcome, sir. Thank
Thank
you
you so
very
much.
much.
Thank
You
you.
are welcome. How are
Thank you so much,
you?
and to the viewers. Thank you. I'm all right. How are you? And thanks very much for inviting me. And I welcome the viewers and everyone who's listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So just in a brief introduction, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Joshua, but then Mr. Mokandila, but he's going to say more about himself because it's always good for him to explain himself. I may just say a little bit of snippets here and there, but he has the whole juice with him. So we have to get the whole story from him. So his names are Mr. Joshua Africa Mokandila, and he went to school in Zambia and in South Africa, and is currently residing in South Africa actually, and currently a Secretary General of N NAP NPSA. Yeah. I got it. I think so. NPSA. So he's living in the farms called Palm Ridge in Val, and he speaks 9 languages. Man, 9 languages. I just want to hear all the languages. So I'm not going to go further. He is a father. He is a husband. He is a great guy. I don't want to talk too much. Let me allow him. Please, you are welcome, sir. I want you to tell us more about who is Mr. Mokandila. I know you, they don't know you. So I want them to know why I even decided to make sure that you are here. Because if you remember last week, we were talking, was it last week or 2 weeks back? We were talking about some political discussions about Africa and all that. And he just said, I should have been in the discussion there. And I was like, I sent him the link, but he was not able to join us at that time. So today I want him to tell us more. He is a political analyst. He's a very humble man, but I want to hear more from him. Sir, please tell us, who is Mokandila Joshua? Who are you? Somebody who's just meeting you now, they need to know, who are you and what do you stand for?
All right. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you so much. And I Mukandila is a very simple man who is so much in love with Africa in general, and who loves, after all, like I love languages. When it talks about languages, it's something that I'm so in love with our African languages, whereby I named all my children African languages in African names, you know. So it's something that I'm so passionate about it, and I'm currently working with the political party that we are busy with, and we are trying by all means to have everyone to understand exactly what is happening. So I'm more of emphasizing of exactly how one can love themselves and how can one can love their country or their continent. I'm more of emphasizing on how to one can express themselves on what they on their beliefs. So Mukandila is all about loving yourself and trying by all means to understand your originality. That's all about Mukandila. Humble, humility, that's it. Hmm.
So tell me something. I like the fact that you say you like the languages in Africa, that you named your children. Their names are from different languages. That's beautiful. I wish I adopted that. That's interesting. But anyway, the name of your party is National Party of South Africa, if I'm not wrong. Is that it? NPSA, right?
That,
Yeah.
yes.
So I was just thinking about it. National Party of South Africa. National Party of South Africa. When did you find? When was it founded? And what do you
Okay.
guys stand for as a party?
As a party. Okay. This Nationalist Party of South Africa. It was founded in 2018 by the name by our leader called Litsila Mofokeng. And he was the founder, or is the founder. And he
Mhm,
was much more interested in people that are more of political knowledge, So he found me as we were both working at the SABC by the time that he was having those ideas of starting a political party. So we were both working for the
mhm,
SABC by then, and he told me, please, can
mhm,
we come along and try if we can start something of that manner of political party, and we started. Up to now, we are still pushing, and we are going for the elections right now on the 29th of May, and we hope that
mhm,
we make it.
mhm, 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 mhm,
Mm,
mhm. I think I like that.
yes.
But now tell me something. You as Mr. Mokandila, and then you are a political analyst, and you are a family man, because I know you be a family man. So how does all this influence your perspective in African politics? Because you being a family man, being a political, be deciding to be in politics, and not only that, I know you to be a career man also. So now tell me, how do all these things work in helping you navigate the political life, and how does it help you enhance your career of being the political analyst, and how does it help Africa as a whole, especially South Africa that you are in right now?
Yeah. It happened recently that I was doing the same interview in Lusaka. Recently, I was there, and they
Okay.
asked me the same question that you're asking, and it's something that we need
Mm-hmm.
to put it to our mind when it comes to politics. What is my mind is that what is politics all about in Africa in general? If we target
Oh,
only
yes.
one country, we're going to like have different kinds of perspective and there. But let us look at how is it in terms of in Africa. That's why my main
Mm-hmm.
concern is because when we talk about Africa, the question is what do we see in Africa? Why you as an individual, what are you going to leave after you are gone? That's the main thing. You have to balance by all means to say that okay, these are the risks and the consequences of me following this kind of a career, and these are the advantages of it. But the main
Mm-hmm.
thing which has to be there is the purpose, the main vision of exactly what we are looking for as in Africa in general. And first of all, I'm working in South Africa in a political party whereby we are pushing our agenda of making sure Africans love one another. Africans loves their country. Africans means
Yes.
it. By first of all, if I may go a bit further, let you know,
Yeah.
in Europe, they will never name our children,
Mm-hmm.
I mean their children in our languages. But in Africa, unfortunately, we're having those so we are discouraging that. In other words, we have I mean the people that have to push the agenda of the real African dreams, to see Africans in general loving where they're coming from, who they are, and making sure that we live in harmony. Hmm.
There's something you just mentioned, that them in Europe they may not name our children with our African languages. They don't know our African languages. They may name their children based on maybe using the names of our countries, because I've had kids who are called Congo. I've heard of Congo. I've heard of Kenya. I've heard of which. there's another country I heard of. I have heard Egypt. I've heard of Uganda.
Amen.
I've heard of Tanzania. Yeah. So I've seen. So the one that I've heard of Lesotho. Yes, I've heard of Lesotho. Those are names. So they may not be able to name the kids uh give them names from our languages because they don't know the languages. So if we don't value the languages, then how do we expect them to understand the languages? I was laughing about it the other time. I was thinking of my mother tongue and I was like, it's interesting because when you don't speak your mother tongue that much, you people think you will forget, but I realize, man, this thing is rooted deep down. You never forget. So it's all dependent on us as Africans to value where we're coming from and to value our culture and to use it positively because that's the point. The point I always say people should use it positively. Our biggest problem is we don't know how to use things positively. So that's the thing that based on what you said. But then tell me something. I have another question I have for you today. I'm going to ask you questions because I want to understand why political analysts, why? In fact, answer me that, sir. Why a political analyst? Tell
All right.
why?
That
Why
yes.
didn't you
I,
decide to
I,
be a political leader? You decided to be an analyst.
the- okay. Let me answer you on this one. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
All right. Let me answer you on. Before you become a leader, there's what we call a process. There's a processing of a person becoming a
Mm-hmm.
leader. All right. So
Yeah.
a leader has to
Mm-hmm.
come through some way of processing and training that will let you have the position
Okay.
of a leader. Now, in my
Okay.
position, I happen to acknowledge. I mean, to have gained a lot of knowledge in terms of politics, and which had the leader to be
Mm-hmm.
very much interested into me working with him. So, in other words, as a political analyst, in other
Mm-hmm.
words, you kind of describe things that the leader wants. Remember, a leader wants to work with a person uh, that is that's having a knowledge of the politics in general. So you have to have someone next to you. And why not being a leader? I'm still going there, and I'm still in a way whereby definitely not something that I'm really into, but pushing someone is a vision. It takes uh, a lot of time and a lot of understanding so that at least you can push the agenda and until you become a leader. So it's something that we really need to understand that. But politics, it's something that is there. It's something that I happen to did study and know exactly what is needed for a leader to be able to lead. Understand what I mean? So, in other words, we need to get the knowledge
Yes.
of exactly what is politics all about. That's how I understand it.
Okay. It's always to be able to lead. I think you have to be willing to. That's my belief. So, also by you analyzing what is going on in Africa and analyzing the politics in Africa itself, it will be able to help you understand what is needed in Africa as a whole. So I think
Mm.
it's a tasking position actually because we the Africans will require a lot from you, will ask you a lot of questions to understand a lot of things that you may not be able to know, but because we ask the questions you will have to go out there and find out. Because I listen to the democracy in Africa, I don't. Come on, is that really democracy? Is that what we call democracy? Sir, please, I'm sorry, I know I'm diverting, but I want to know. Now you are in politics, answer me. I don't understand.
All right.
Tell me, what we are having in Africa, is it really democracy? Come on, talk to me.
All right. Let me start a bit in terms of, you're right, you're 100% right. Let me start first in terms of our
Mm,
originality when it comes to politics, okay? When it comes to democracy, all right? Now,
Yes.
in Africa, we have what you call the anger of power. That's really damaging most of our leaders, whereby whenever they're in power, they come up with a way out of how to protect themselves. I don't know if you can hear me. Now, when you have
Yes, I
a
can
leader
continue.
that is taking
Mm-hmm.
a direction whereby, you know what, it's all about democracy, in the name of democracy, but in the process of having democracy, our leaders do not respect
Mm.
that. All right, let me go back again.
Yeah.
There's what we're missing in this thing, that our
Mm.
background or our low education, when it came to our lower grades, we were not taught
Mm-hmm.
quite a lot of things of how to love our community, how to love our countries, how to love our cultures. So even if we were taught, but
Yes.
there was somehow it
Mm-hmm.
diverted.
Mm-hmm.
By it being diverted, we ended up now doing whatever that comes along the way.
Yep.
We are being
Mm-hmm.
we are being proposed with
Yep.
a lot of negativity when it comes to our democracy. It's called democracy
Yep.
overseas over there, but in Africa it's not. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because the reality of our African democracy is totally not exactly what is on the plate. It's
Mm-hmm.
totally something different. So when it comes
Yes.
to democracy, we now,
Yes.
as
Now
the
you are
process is
talking.
going on,
Wait, sir. Wait, sir. Wait. Now you are talking. I needed to hear this because I feel that sometimes you guys lie to us. Come on. I've been looking into this. You tell us democracy. I'm looking at it. They say democracy, everybody must have their rights. It's fair for everybody. But I don't see it being fair. Now you are talking. Today you are the one on the hot seat. I need to understand this because come on, sir. Everybody, I'm looking at the politicians. They're hoarding money. They're getting a lot of wealth here and there. I'm looking at our children suffering. People are suffering on the street. The economy is becoming harder and harder. Yet these guys are driving jets. I'm not saying it's wrong for you guys to drive jets. I believe I will see you soon having one. But please just ensure that this thing is understood. That we the laymen that are here, we are the ones supporting you guys to get there. So you guys must take care of us. Am I wrong, sir? Okay, please continue. Sorry, I just
all
wanted
right.
to vent out
Thi-
today. Today you are the one on the hot seat. So I'm very happy
all
that
right.
I can speak.
All right. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Thank you.
Continue.
All right. Thank you for that for that point. Okay, let me go back. All right. When it comes to our democracy, let me tell you something. As Africans, we need to understand something that
Uh-huh.
we are using this term democracy as an artificial kind of a term, because when it comes to the reality part, it's not happening. And let me give you a very simple example. I was giving a
Mm-hmm.
lecture somewhere in the VAR. I was giving a lecture, and I happened
Okay.
to give a very simple
Mm-hmm.
example. That, but guys, how do we believe someone to come and tell us that, oh, hey guys, I'm going to give you water for free, and this, from there you go ahead, you vote. After 10 years, the person comes again. He didn't do that. He comes again and again and tell you that I'm gonna do this. But remember, the previous time he never did that.
Different story.
Then he come, but listen. But the question is, how do we keep on? How do we keep on still
Yeah,
going
now
ahead?
you are
But
talking.
this person, this person sounds like he's convincing this time. You go ahead, and 5 years finish, he never did nothing. Then he comes back again and said, but this time I'm going to give you free food. You go ahead. Now listen to this. The problem is this: we are playing what we call as Africans blindfolded kind of followers. I you know, in my party they're always fighting me because I happen to be very clear and straight away to the point. Because we are playing what we call blindfolded. What do I mean by blindfolded? We are so we are emotional reaction. I mean reacting most of the time instead of intelligent reaction most of the time. That's why the problem is. So when it comes to emotional, because the person came with music and everything, like, ooh, you are going ahead and voting for that person because you are reacting emotionally. But if you use the intelligence, it becomes a bit different.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
I don't know if you're getting my point there.
Yeah,
So we
yeah,
have to
yeah, yeah,
change.
yeah, yeah.
We have
Uh-huh.
to change our
I'm
approach
getting it
towards
because
democracy.
truthfully speaking, yes,
Mm.
because truthfully speaking, think about it. Even our national anthems, man, our national anthems are quite touching. By the time the politicians come around singing the national anthem, most of them it's worshiping God, and you're like, for instance, I will sing the South African one, Kosisikeleli Africa, Malupagamisu Kololwayo. You know, the song itself softens your heart. So somebody's walking around singing that, and you're like, vote for me. I promise I will bring Africa back. You'll be like, oh, the song itself, God, you're already praying, God, please bless Africa, change Africa. So you guys are playing around with our emotions. Sorry, you are the one on the hot seat, so I'm gonna deal with you, sir. You guys are
All right.
playing with our emotions. You need to change this, sir.
Okay.
Continue, sir. Don't worry. I'm just
All right.
good that today I found you. I'm going to look for more of your colleagues.
You you're right. You know, let me give you a very simple example here. We were having a small meeting, and they put me in a hotspot like you, and they said, "But what do you think can be the solutions to things be happening?" Okay,
Yes.
I hope you're listening to that. What do you think can be the solution to things be happening? Which means,
For things
what do you
to
think can be
happen.
happening
Yes.
so that we can? Yeah.
Yes.
So I said, no,
Yes.
guys, let me give you a very simple example. Okay, why don't we do this, guys? Come on. Eh, eh, they said a very experienced driver is a very dangerous driver. What do I mean by that? You know, when you have been in a seat for quite a long time, you know your way in and your way out. All right. Now,
Uh-huh.
with it comes, why
Uh-huh.
don't we have
Uh-huh.
a rotation of political parties, and say, okay, this one has led for 5 years or 10 years. Let's have this kind of a. Let me let me finish up, please. You are cutting me too much. All right. This is what I came up as a solution, because they said, okay, you are there as the Secretary General, give us the solution. What can be happening here? Then I said, why don't you have a rotation of political parties? And said, after this one is done, this one didn't even work properly. Let's have someone else on the seat and see how they're going to work. I think that one can work. Because remember, if you have been there, you never work, then they give you back another chance. You will make sure that you do it. Now, they are not doing it anymore because of what? They are so experienced. Things they're like, man, I can do this. I can. It becomes difficult for people to just lose it up, because they said, okay, we can just let it go because we are now used. There is the question that I was asked again about crime, the crime in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Because I go to Botswana, I give the
Mm-hmm.
analysis of crime. What can be the solution to that? I go to, they say, okay, what can be the solution towards crime? People, they say that no, it's because of the economy, because of there's no jobs, because of this and that. Different types of reasons of crime being so high. But let us look at the reality, guys. What we are doing in general in Africa, if I can say it in general, is that we are running
Mm-hmm.
from the reality of the matter here. You understand? I like what you said. You said something like,
Okay.
politicians,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we take over,
Okay.
and
Mm-hmm.
we buy cars, we buy plots and farms and everything. But we are forgetting exactly where we're coming from. You understand? We're forgetting
Mm-hmm.
exactly where who voted for us
Mm-hmm.
to be in power. But the main thing that we have
Yes.
to see around here is that,
Yes.
what exactly can we do to improve our people? Unfortunately, we have with the third force that we are always accusing in general, and said, okay, we have the third force, which is the international laws, which are coming up and telling us, now you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. You understand what I mean? So that's another thing. But the general matter is that, what are we doing in power to improve the lives of our people? What are we doing in power to improve the lives of that poor person in the village? Remember, a citizen in the city is the same citizen also in the village there. So what are we
Thank you.
doing for that person in the village? That's the thing. So for
Yes.
now, as Africans, we need to give political parties different times and say, okay, this time is you, 5 years done. You didn't do well, didn't do good. Let's have another one again. You didn't do well. So
Yeah.
just, I think it will give the politicians a bit of time to think and realize that
Mm-hmm.
no, we are there to serve the people, not to serve our pockets.
Yes,
Mm.
I like that. I like that. Now we are talking. Otherwise, me and you we were going to be drinking this hot coffee until because you are there. We are the ones who put you there because we want a change. It really needs to this rotation. It's good. I think it can really help a lot of people. So tell me something. As You spoke about speaking 9 languages. Before I even continue asking more questions about the languages, please tell me, which are these languages? I want to know because I have a question
All
concerning
right.
these languages. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So I will count them one by one. All right.
Wait. When you count them, each and every one of them, when you say one, you greet us in that language.
No
We
problem.
want.
With pleasure. With pleasure. I will do that. With pleasure. All right. Before I go to the languages part of it,
Uh-huh.
I'd like to say
Uh-huh.
something very, very, very deep. Is that
Yes.
I happen. Nelson Mandela said something. If you want a person to hear you, you must speak in a language that they don't hear you, but if you want a person to listen to you, speak into their language. So I work with that kind of a mentality of saying that this is exactly what I believe. So in other
Yes.
words, when I reach, like for example, I
Mm-hmm.
said my brother Power Mapunda, I met with him in a village, in a deep, deep village. He wasn't expecting me to be that side. For sure, he has forgotten. All right, but we were both of us
Mm-hmm.
related to the person that passed away. So
Mm-hmm.
in a place called Kashkundu, deep after Giani Malamlele there. We went deep in the villages there. He was shocked. And they speak a language called Sitsonga. All right. Sitsonga, they said, Absheni Minjani, Fugini Mjani. Then that's how it is. Now we go to a place called there's a place called Munsiwa. All right. I went there and I did study that side, Munsiwa. Munsiwa, it's in a deep northwest town, a very small town. I was staying there when I was studying there. All right. In these towns,
Okay.
in these places where I've been, it's a place whereby they speak specific languages. When I am there, I'm studying. My
Okay.
first thing that I'm there is for let me learn the language so that at least I can speak to the person. The person can listen to me and I can listen to them. So when I reach at the place
Okay.
where they speak Sitsonga or they speak Shivenda, they speak those are the South African languages that I'm mentioning around. But if we go out, we can still go ahead and mention as more as possible. But let me go to the
Okay.
ones that you might be familiar with for now until we get to 9. Maybe
Okay.
we might even go higher than 9. All right.
I'm excited here. Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. So it's quite like I happen to speak Sepedi. I happen to speak Sepedi. I
Spady.
went to school with people. Yeah, Sepedi. I went to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I happened to go to school with people those who were speaking Silobedu and Sepedi.
Okay.
So
Okay. Okay.
it's something that I'm very excited, and it happened that I went to a place where they speak also Sikosa. I don't know if you know about Sikosa.
Sikosa.
Yeah,
Sikosa.
yeah, it's Sikosa. Yeah. So
Mbinjani. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, Ndiapil. They use Kaman
Molweni.
Ndiapil. Molweni kaloko. So it's so it's something that
Mhm,
the love of the language. When I reach in a
mhm,
place
mhm.
called Mtata, I want to listen to the
Yes.
person in their language. You understand what I mean? I want to listen to the person in the language that they happen to be very free. You know, when you speak in your language, you are so free. Mulweni
Yeah.
minjani njani, discipline njani,
Mhm,
and listen, a language goes with an accent and goes also with a character along with the pronunciation of the words. You get the point.
mhm,
So I happen to
mhm,
adopt that. Sometimes I feel like I'm acting, but that's how it is.
mhm,
But that's how it is because of what? Because that's how they're expressing. When you go into the Tsonga tradition for the
mhm,
first time, because I'm married to the Tsonga people, all right. So
okay. Mhm,
when I went there, they said to me, "You have to greet one by one. You sit first
mhm.
before you do the greetings. You sit before you do the greetings." I had to memorize all those things. Now I'm professional now. You sit down and say, Abshin, Aye, Minjani, Ifugine Minjan. If there are 20 of them, remember, Bishop, you have to greet 20 of them one by one individually. And that's how it is.
Amen. I like that one. Let's continue, sir. I'm still listening to this. So
And
tell
when
me
you,
something. So in these languages
um,
that you speak, sir, uh, the language mentioned so far right now, they are languages that are spoken in South Africa. So which other languages do you speak that
thank
are
you.
outside South Africa? Because the ones
Thank
I
you
hear
very
the
much.
Shangani,
All
I
right.
hear the Siped. Yeah.
This is Zulu.
Okay, that's South
Yes.
Africa
Yeah.
and
When,
Zimbabwe, because Zimbabwe has the those are years.
yes, I love that. Yeah, I love it. I love Shona. All right. I
Mm-hmm.
love it so
Mm-hmm.
much. We can't, if there's a language, there's a language with you. I happen to like whenever I pray. It's in Shona. And you feel like you are very close to God whenever you're speaking Shona. And things like tinotenda baba. you know
Oh,
tinotenda
okay.
mwari mupenyu. You are giving, yes, tinotenda mwari mupenyu, mwari
Tenda.
asingarare. You are giving God, yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so it's one of the language that I also happen to have said, to have spoken. And there's also a language called Nyanja. I don't know if you have heard about that, Nyanja.
Mm-mm.
And
It's from
there's
which
also a language called Bemba. Well, now
Bemba?
we're
I've
going to
heard of
Zambia
Bemba.
now.
Okay, I've heard of Bemba.
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes, we go to, yes. There's also the other one called Chichewa. Chichewa, I happen to learn Chichewa due to, I don't know if I can mention this on air, but yeah, I'm even scared now. I happen to have an
I
affair with a Chichewa person and they taught me. Okay, so I
okay.
learned the language. That's how it was. Yeah, that's a
Mm-hmm.
bit when we were still young by then. So I learned the
You
language
so
and it
so,
was,
so the right statement is you happen to have been dating somebody who speaks Chichewa. So they taught you the language.
not an affair, but dating.
Eh,
Yeah, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's another debate for another day.
no, but that's good. I like the way you are bilingual, so it means you have the desire to learn languages and you learn them fast. Do you speak French?
Yes, I do speak French, but I can't say that. Remember, French is quite a language like Russian. I'm currently learning Mandarin. I'm currently learning Mandarin, the one from
Mm-hmm.
China. So French, it's quite a bit of. You must have your basics very well for you to learn the French part of it. But I happen to speak it, but I can't write it correctly. So in other words, I'm more of speaking than than writing, because the writing part of it you have to go to you must have some basics for you to be able to write. But I can write what I am speaking. Like, for example, I can write like the way I'm hearing it, but it happened that it's not the French way. That's not how it's spelled and stuff. So it's a bit of tough, but I can speak it.
Comment ça va?
Yes.
Ça va bien. No, that's interesting. I also tend to understand a little bit of some languages here and there. My kids are actually learning Mandarin. They seem to love the language. I just hear them saying things. I'm like, okay, they're speaking out of this world for me, but it's okay. But then it's good to learn languages. It's exciting. Now let's come back. When it comes to these languages, how are they helping you with your political career, with you being a political analyst? How are these languages helping you? What are these advantages after you have
All right.
learned all these languages? How are they helping you in this journey?
All right. When it comes to them helping me, it's not about them helping me as much, but there are the advantages in terms of learning the language, that whenever you reach at a place that you have to explain exactly. Remember, not everyone really understands English, so they will definitely want you to translate. Like, for example, I go to a place where they're speaking only in Ndebele, in a place called Cholocho. All right. So when you get there,
Mhm,
you have to speak the language. You have to make them understand what
mhm,
you are there for. You remember,
mm,
and
mm,
the politicians are there to translate exactly their work to the people. And if there's a lack of
mm,
communication, it breaks down. So you'll find out that you are in another constituency and you have to go into the other one and try to make people to understand exactly what you are talking about. Then it becomes a bit
mm,
difficult. So in terms of the languages, it facilitates it kind of greases everything up to the way that you really like to. So in terms of the languages of let's say for example East Costa and stuff, you reach at a place in Eastern Cape, people they want to understand you, they want to hear you. Without you having their
mm,
language being spoken by you, it becomes a bit difficult. So it has become a bit more to my
mm.
advantage. Mm.
Now, another thing is that I've come to realize when you speak to somebody in their language, they resonate with you. They feel like you understand them. They feel warm with you because one thing, like just when you spoke about the Shona, I love Shona too. So there's a song that I really like in Shona that I was actually trying to sing it, and then it says totenda kunaka tenda kunaka tenda kunaka kwenu Jesu. I love the song. I remember even when I will be singing the song, my eyes closed, I feel the song. Then you come to different the joy I have when I listen to somebody speaking Shangani and they will I'm like, wow, God is so marvelous to give everybody all these tongues. Listening to somebody speaking Kosa and then they're and then I'm like, this is interesting. You come back to my language, somebody else will be like, this is too hard, but yet there are different languages. So if somebody hears you speaking their language, they you actually make them put their guards down. They feel free with you. They are open up and they are comfortable. They resonate with you, and hence they can easily listen to you. And that's another advantage that I think it can work for you, but it can work against the people, we the people now. It can work against us because when you politicians you come in and then you start telling us, you speak our language, you start telling us, speaking the deep part and singing our songs and dancing with us and eating our food, and then when you go you do not fulfill the promises, it's not fair. So that's why my next question is, now if somebody is listening to you right now and they're in Africa, and probably they're not even in Africa, they may be outside of Africa, but they are Africans and they are tired of all this political saga. What can you tell them? How can you encourage them? Can you tell them there is hope or there is no hope? Please talk to us. Let us know.
Okay. And it's so sad. It's so sad somehow. It's so sad that after we convince and everything. That's why I said we really need to change our way of voting. That's another way, and we really need to come up with a way out of how to be realistic a bit with our people. But the main thing is that how to encourage the other person that is busy sitting down, listening to you, and he really wants their lives to change. But it's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing. So our political uh, uh, structure has to really come up to a point whereby we need to change our way of approaching things towards the people, because by the end of the day, we are honestly not accomplishing exactly what they are being what is being asked. So to encourage the person who is there, like, no, one day it's going to be fine, one day it's going to be fine. I have just to be honest with them. By the end of the day, I just have to be honest with them. You know what, our politics for politicians that right now, they are telling us 1, 2, 3, 4, in which direction can we go in for us to change our livelihood, for us to change our lifestyle. Because by the end of the day, we have lives. Remember, a person has a lifetime. A lifetime, I call it as an airtime given by God. It's an airtime given by God that at a certain duration, that airtime will definitely have to end. And to my colleagues and to my friends and everybody, I always try to be a bit straight to the point. But unfortunately, that's the game. That's the game. Whereby if you go much more harder on them, they're going to react. It's like a balloon. A balloon. Whenever you press it a bit harder and harder and harder, there's a point whereby it's going to do what? To pass. So politics in Africa has become a danger zone. Like it becomes a, hey, you go out there, you try to force your way out from there. So we have to approach it in a realistic way by letting the voters to understand their rights when it comes to voting, when it comes to electing their leaders, by understanding what are the advantages and disadvantages. When a person comes and convince you and tell you that, you know what, I will do one, two, three, four, in speaking in your language in Swahili, and said, hey, mitafana easy na easy na easy. But it doesn't work like that. By the end of the day, you as a voter, you have to say, no, is this really happening or not? Is it really worth it or not? People that right now currently they have been so discouraged. People that are so discouraged in Africa. In general, people that are so
Mm,
discouraged because they don't even know where to go to.
mm,
We
mm,
have
mm.
people running from Algeria entering into the Red Sea there. I don't know which seas. They are crossing the rivers, whatever they, just to go and have a bread, have a loaf of bread and eat.
Yeah,
You ask yourself,
yeah,
what is happening? You understand? The hope for Africans, it
yeah,
has really gone down. I was currently
yeah.
in Botswana being asked the same question again, and I said, but what is it that as
Mm,
politicians that are not doing right, that we are doing, that people that are just feeling us like we are so bitter, they're feeling that we are
mm,
so hurt. Like what is it that we are doing that people that they don't just like whenever I talk about politics, they look at you politics, they just look at you like, come on, dude, you are another person again. Because it has been a pattern,
mm,
it has been a pattern which has been going on and
mm,
on and on and on.
mm,
So to try
mm,
and convince a person, you use all these techniques of their language.
mm.
You use the techniques of convincing a person that I will
Of
do this, I will do
food,
that.
of
Of food,
houses, of
of
water,
houses,
and yet you don't
yeah.
feel it. Yes.
I,
Mm,
I, I,
mm, mm,
all those things, you use all the things because in politics there's what we call techniques. In other words, you use if they are done, we must know that you are doomed by the end of the day because you have to make sure that you know what you get your point, and whenever you get your point, you convince them, they accept. It's up to you now to go ahead and fulfill what you did say or not. So you lie to the people, you tell the people I'll do one, two, three, four. From there, you yourself again you decide, am I going to do it or not? So it becomes a bit of a dirty way of really doing things. And us as NSPA, we have come in, NPSA, we have come in and said, try us, all right? And after 5 years, we don't fulfill what we promised, take us out. You understand? The other one
mm,
comes in after 5 years, they don't take them out. Then from there we try to go to a certain pattern that's I think for the next generation it's going to be fine. As for now, we are using the old generation way of doing things, way of pattern doing things, whereby every time we are just going to be convinced, we are just going to be promised, we are just going to be told how beautiful our languages are, how this and that. From there, nothing is happening on the physical, on the ground. Nothing's happening on the basic ground. Then it becomes a bit of a tough
mm,
time for everyone. People that have lost hope. People that have lost really hope. I'm saying that maybe tomorrow it will be fine. Become this that like they said in this will say kuza ulunga. It will be fine one day, but for the question is for when? When is it going to for how
mm.
long? You understand what I mean? For how long? People that are giving up,
Yeah,
they're running to different kind
yeah, yeah.
of solutions. The religion, they're running different kinds of
Mm,
uh, uh, spiritual things so that they can gain, so that they can try to survive.
yeah,
Meanwhile, politicians are driving.
yeah.
It's a bit tough.
You know what I always say is that human beings, we are self-centered naturally. So if we don't, that's why the Bible even says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Because the truth of the matter is that I love me more than I can ever love somebody else. And I always say to people, you can never give what you don't have. So hence, there is no way. You even had a story in the Bible where people were actually eating their own children, to show you that we value us more than we value anybody else. So we are self-centered. And when you bring that self-centeredness into the political world, it's painful because it hurts the other people around. Personally, I think that you all, even as a political analyst right now, I'm not saying I'm telling you what to do, but this is just my idea. I'm thinking, I'm a people's person, and I'm one of the layman's people who are sitting down there. And I'm saying, come on, I think you guys need to be held accountable. If somebody does not fulfill the promises they've made, they need to be held accountable. I think it's very important. And in the political world, as much as this may look like it's hard to do, but people need to come to the reality that, man, whether you run for 10 years, one day you will stop, and one day all of us, there's one place we all go to, the ground. We will all die. So it doesn't matter how much money you embezzle, you will leave that money here. You cannot eat all of it. You cannot stay in 10 houses. You cannot sleep in 10 beds. You'll only be able to sleep on one bed at a time. So I think politicians, wherever they are, they need to listen to me also. I'm on fire. I'm speaking for my brothers and my sisters out there. Come on, we are tired of the lies. We want to see a change, because now you're telling us about NPSA, and then NPSA is coming up with positive narratives, and we're looking at it, we're like, okay, this is for Africa. Then if we choose you tomorrow, we vote for you tomorrow, then you change, you become like every other person. It's not fair. I think it's time we all come together and literally value one another. I was talking to, a few weeks back, I was talking to I call him my Afropolitan apostle. He was here in the, we were having a live stream with him. He was talking about him wanting to bring the African nation together as people being one. If we can realize we are one, no borders, nobody stopping the other from going the other way. We are one. If we can realize that, his narrative was that if we can realize that, then we will make a great continent. And that's his drive. But then I agree with him. My point is, if politicians can realize that we are one, I think your political parties will start treating us citizens differently, because you will start thinking of what your child needs is what somebody else's child needs. You will not be thinking of everything you driving a plane or riding on a plane or having your own jet, while somebody, your neighbor, is lacking food, does not have money to go to the hospital. The other one dies because they simply don't have water. It's not fair. So as politicians, I think you need to call each other to book and hold each other accountable. But man, this is wrong. Because I think if it can start with you guys by yourself holding each other accountable, it will be great. Because some of us, when we are sitting on the side, it's hard to talk to the people. You don't even know how to reach them. But you guys yourselves, if you can be able to hold each other accountable, especially as the analysts, there are many other political analysts that I know. But if you guys can stand up and say, guys, let us start doing things the right way. Let us analyze this situation. Let us analyze why this is happening. Let us look deeper into it. I think it will be great. It will save a lot of people. A lot of sick children are struggling out there. The parents cannot even raise money to be able to help them out. Why? Because the politicians are eating the money. Where the parents are working, they can barely get enough salary to take care of their kids. So I think you guys need to hold each other accountable, sir. You are the one on the hot seat, so that's why I'm on your case. You guys need to hold each other accountable. So I'm so
Yeah.
grateful that you came through. My time is our time is almost up, and thank you so much. I really appreciate the fact that you came. Last question, and then I will allow you to go. You being a political analyst, how does it affect your family? How as a family man, how does this affect your family? Are they okay with it? Are the kids okay with it? Your spouse, is she okay with it? How does this affect your family?
Yeah. When it comes to family, it's a bit of a hard to say, because they always have that. I love the views, and sometimes go somewhere, they interview you, and you give there your views, and then you come home. You're home. That's when they tell you now the honest part. They happen to like, no, but what, Papa? Here you are supposed. Now they tell you're supposed to say this. They correct you honestly. So I happen to love it. They happen to also love it, and they like it. That I give my views, and I tell, but here we can't really, even if you are promising this, but but it can't happen. But the reality matter of this, we try by all means, this and that, and and this, but why did you say this? But I said yes. I said because so that we can do this. But there's always a reason. There's always a reason. But the family, it's why you get all the honesty part. The honesty part of it. I say, hey, this is exactly you are supposed to say. They tell you honestly. So according to my family are very supportive. They're very loving, and my girls, I love them so much. And I don't know if I may say this, but unfortunately, it happened that today. I mean, a few days ago, I lost one, so it just happened. But I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, what keeps me going is seeing them. Seeing them being happy, seeing them being honest with me, and I'm like this. I'm like this because of them. I'm pushing the way out because of them, because I'm seeing at the future. What is our next generation going to say about us? Remember, we have to leave a legacy. We have to leave something for other ones to talk about. So if we don't, we just die without anything, then you wasted your time on earth. So I always try to try to do something a bit so that someone can talk about me. But the question is it positive or negative? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys. Viewers, thank you so much. That was Mokandili Joshua. He's a political analyst. I know I put him on the hot seat today, but that was okay because sometimes we need to speak out, and we can only speak out to the one that we are able to see. And I want to send our condolences to the Mukandila family. We are so sorry he lost one of his daughters today. We just want to say, may God give you all comfort. May God strengthen you. And thank you so much for coming through despite all these things. I just want to say thank you, viewers, for joining us. And thank you for always being there. I'll see you again next week, Tuesday. Remember to make sure that you are there, as we'll be having a heart-to-heart talk. And we'll be here on Thursday when we'll be having another guest who will come here to give us different ideas and different views of life. Always remember, you are meant to be authentic and not flawless. Or rather, you are meant to be real and not perfect. You are the best thing God has ever made. Never you doubt that. Thank you so much. I love you all. Bye. Mwah. Ciao.
Artists who are selling their music on Matumba online store. South African legendary pastor Rudolph Mabasa, the legendary Stephen Ngobeni, Apostle Neo, Pastor Triple E Bekweyo, legendary multi-award-winning Matumba Power, Mozambican Julia Magaya, Nigerian Francis Divine Gift, South African Apostle Peter, South African gospel group Bukona Worship Explo, Kenyan gospel artist Irene Solo, South African legendary Dr. Keddy, Brighton and Princess, Minister Jones, South African Walter Chabs, the legendary Apostle Petrus Mamahohi, the legendary Gift Makamu, Zimbabwean gospel legend Shadrach Muzakomba, and from South Africa Eastern Cape, Pearl. Kindly visit matumbapower.com, and scroll down to Matumba online store and buy. You can pay through PayPal to email pastorpower79@gmail.com, or locate the Matumba online store FNB business account details. just after you have filled your personal information, then click Save and Continue, and choose the Matumba Online Store FNB business account details. After clicking the button, Place Your Order, you will see the account details. Wire a payment to it. After receiving your payment, we will update the system. You will then receive a link on your email to download your digital product. Thank you for your support. Matumba Online Store.
In partnership with Yahweh TV.
By Jesus' grace, we also provide the following services. We do posters for your Sunday services, conferences, night prayers, funeral announcements, weddings, and special church events.
We do digital marketing videos for the same events. We do ebooks, produce audiobooks, and music,
then sell it on social media, to a global audience of over 38 nations scattered in 5 continents of the globe through Matumba Online Store, located on the website matumbapower.com.
Matumba Online Store,
in partnership with Yahweh TV,
enriching lives, glorifying Christ.
Pastors and authors who are selling ebooks, audiobooks, and their sermons on Matumba Online Store, one of South Africa's church fathers and revivalist, Apostle Joseph Sitholy,
American pastor and scholar Bishop Dr. Paul Taylor,
Bible teacher, author and multi-award-winning gospel artist, Matumba Power, Zimbabwean pastor and seasoned author, Pastor Benedict Chiponda, South African Bible teacher, and author, Mama Pastor Josie Sithole,
Bible teacher and scholar Pastor K.E.T. Huhu,
American evangelist and professor Dr. Percy Bland Sr.,
South African Bible scholar Dr. John Mafukela,
one of Nigeria's church fathers and leadership expect, Dr. Shegun Tremendous Oshinaga, the South African author and Bible teacher Apostle Sai Shlungwani, theologian and leadership expect Dr. Gideon Sabila,
author and South African recording artist Lev Simmons,
Bible teacher and prolific author Apostle Sibusiso Koza of His Grace Tabernacle, and South African author Mitham Tando Usandlo. Kindly visit matumbapower.com, and scroll down to Matumba Online Store and buy. You can pay through PayPal to email pastorpower79@gmail.com, or locate the Matumba Online Store FNB business account details, just after you have filled your personal information, then click Save and Continue, and choose the Matumba Online Store FNB business account details. After clicking the button, Place Your Order, you will see the account details. Wire a payment to it. After receiving your payment, we will update the system. You will then receive a link on your email to download your digital product. Thank you for your support.